Here, you're ready for your dose of reality. Welcome, everyone, to the Dr. Quack Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. We're on our last trip down the road to the Royal Rumble, and we decided to go with a good one. I did. I decided to go with a good one. Royal Rumble 2004. It goes into WrestleMania 20, which we reviewed, which both of us agreed had probably the closest to the greatest match of all time. But this Royal Rumble, well, it's a great Royal Rumble. There's some other things left to be desired.
Oh, yeah. This took place here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the Wachovia Center.
Yep, then they had Paul Heyman. We'll get to that in a little bit. There was definitely a heavy ECW vibe, a lot of ECW chants, a lot of ECW originals worked on this show. So I'm not going to fault that. The fans did like ECW.
And this, of course, was when we had two different brands. We had Raw and SmackDown with two different general managers. We're going to get into that. But let me break it down here for you. On commentary, we had Michael Cole and Taz on SmackDown. And we had Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler on Raw, along with Jonathan Coachman.
Yeah, we get Curly here. He was awful as usual. I don't know how that guy kept the job behind a microphone for so long, but he did. Maybe it's affirmative action. I don't know.
He's still there.
And on the backstage, we get some people who actually make Taz look good. We get Terry Runnels and Josh Matthews.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Terry Runnels, I always said she did a great job as an interviewer. She didn't ask the wrong questions, but she didn't always ask the right questions. She just kind of made sure people got their story across.
Well, Terry Runnels' idea of interviewing was when someone looked at her for a stupid question, she went, and then people lost their train of thought and she started over.
Yeah, and on Spanish commentary, I failed to mention here, Carlos Cabrera and Hugo Sanovich.
Great team. We don't pick on them because they knew they were a weapon for a long time, and they do a great job. They've been doing it for many, many years, over 25 years. Can't complain.
And on the announcing team, on the announcers, ring announcers, we had Tony Kimmel, sorry, I can't speak today. Tony Kimmel, and the Raw ring announcer and the Royal Rumble ring announcer, Howard Finkel.
That's right. We had no Lillian Garcia to screw things up.
There's a positive. Referees, here we go. Charles Robinson, Mike Chioda, Jack Doan, Earl Hebner, Brian Hebner, Jim Corderas, Nick Patrick, all them right there.
That's right. It looks like because there was 3 SmackDown matches, 2 Raw matches, and the main event, it looks like everybody got to work a match. So that's kind of looks like how they went. At this time, Raw and SmackDown, they were trying to compete for who was the better brand without working on each other's shows. We'll get into that as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't have competition against another company, you had to make your own competition. And you had general managers Eric Bischoff for Raw and Paul Heyman for SmackDown.
Again, we're going to get into that in a little bit, but we do get a Stone Cold sighting. There were some rattlesnakes crawling around in Philadelphia.
Yes. And let's move along here. So the first match, we've got Evolution taking on the Dudleys in a tables match.
Yeah, this one came from Raw. The Evolution team, tag teams at this time, were the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and Bautista. I'm not a fan of Dave's work. No, I'm not a huge fan. He was green at this point. Kayfabe word of the day, smash over. When you smash somebody over, it's not what Roman Reigns means about smashing somebody by pinning them. Smashing somebody over means doing everything you can to make them seem to be an unstoppable monster. They no-sell. They get all the offense in. That's called smashing over. Kayfabe word of the day, smashing over. And OVW, the training facility for the WWF at this time, smashed Dave Batista over as the Leviathan, the demon of the deep. Well, he came to WWF and he had to actually learn how to sell on the fly, and he hadn't learned it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a decent match. I loved it for what it was. I wasn't expecting anything huge. I mean, everybody was expecting the Dudleys to win this, but of course, Dave Batista put Devon through the table.
Yeah, this match, I only gave it 2 stars on this one. This match seemed very, very rushed. Like, they were originally planning for 15 minutes, and someone comes up and said, okay, everything you talked about it, 7 minutes. Give it to us. This match was very rushed. There was no stopping. There was no pausing. It was just transition from move to move to move. But I will say, good bump, Jonathan Coachman.
Yeah, I gave it 2 1/4. That's how I felt on it. It was a solid opener, but nothing spectacular. Moving along here.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You're going to the match, aren't you?
Oh, the match. Yeah.
No. Because we get Word Life John Cena.
I was letting him bring this up.
And he came out there and didn't say a single thing that wasn't in some sort of bad rhyme. And at this point, John Cena, Vanilla Ice, they were the same guy. I really want to spray this. I'm not going to because John Cena is a company man. Somebody back there who's probably doing it, freestyling back in the locker room, someone went, hey, make a gimmick out of that. So I'm not going to punish John Cena, even though it was god-awful.
You actually got something worse than this. All right.
Yes.
We're going to find out what that is. But yeah, it's John Cena. He led him to a great career. I didn't have a problem with the segment because I thought it was funny. But yeah. Here we go. Rey Mysterio taking on Jamie Noble for the Cruiserweight title.
With Nydia. And
Nydia.
And the gimmick they were doing, I don't care why they were at this point. But Nydia came out with a blind walking stick and big sunglasses on, pretending to be blind. I don't know what the gimmick was. I don't know what the storyline was. And I don't care either. If you want to take the time to send it to us, we'll at least read your comments before we ignore it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Rey Mysterio Jr. taking on Jamie Noble. This match was okay. This is another one of those that they kind of went, okay, you did have 15 minutes, now you got 7. So this was another one that was very, very rushed. And at this time, it was a SmackDown match, and Curly was definitely channeling his inner Gorilla Monsoon. He was trying to put over body parts and working on various parts of the body, trying to use medical terms. But when you hear a mush mouth called abdominal muscles, no, stop it.
Yeah, he loved Curly's commentary here. The match was okay. Like you said, it was really rushed. It was kind of sloppy there. It could have been better, and yeah, he's probably right here because production probably said, yeah, you got 7 instead of 15. I gave this match 2 stars.
I went 2 1/4. Nydia did a great job. She was involved in accidentally tripping her boyfriend, Jamie Noble, but it was very subtle, and then she crawled her way down the ring apron, so at least she continued to sell the blind, not just, oops, I screwed up. She actually continued to sell whatever that reason was. So I went 2 1/4. Good job, Nydia. A lot of people malign her. I think she did okay.
Yeah, she did all right. Let's move along here. Eddie Guerrero taking on Chavo Guerrero with Chavo Sr. in the corner.
Yeah, we had Cheech Marin out there. I'm sorry, Chavo Classic deserves more credit than that. Deserves more respect than that. But he really, at this point, him and Cheech Marin looked exactly alike. They could win contests together. But Chavo did a great job. Eddie did a great job. This was a really, really strong match. A great telling of the story of that Chavo was tired of living under Eddie Guerrero's shadow, and they played it very well. It was well-paced. This one was very slow, but appropriately paced, that Eddie was trying to fix fences, mend the fences, and Chavo wasn't buying it. The intensity was correct. The movesets were correct. I went 3 1/4. I thought this was a great match.
Wow, you went high on this. I went about 2 1/2. It was an okay match. It wasn't nothing extremely phenomenal to me. I like Chavo Guerrero Sr. coming out there. I mean, he had a big role in this throughout that feud. coming out. There's Chavo Classic later on, getting into the Hall of Fame eventually. But the match was okay. I went about 2.5.
Yeah, I went 3 because the storytelling, something that was really suffered at this time. They were coming out of the Attitude Era. This is one where they still told a great story.
Yep. And now we're going to go to commercial. Back. Thank you to our sponsor, Crystal Infinity, for sponsoring the Dr. Quack podcast here. Don't forget the big show here on January 20th.
Editor, make the got paid sound. We paid the bills.
That's right. January 20th, HSP Slugfest. Make sure you check that out in Heart and Soul.
Oh, yeah.
Also, moving along here, we had a WWE Championship match, which I was shocked because I remember when it first came out, when I first saw it, even today. Brock Lesnar took on Hardcore Holly.
Yeah, Hardcore Holly was always around the mid-card ranks. He was never seen as a world title contender. He was always a solid, decent talent. And the backstory on this, and I hate to say this is why I'm spraying, but this is what I'm spraying. So the reason this match exists is because in 2002, September 12th, 2002 is the exact date, Brock Lesnar took on Hardcore Holly. And this is one of the few and only times you'll ever see Brock Lesnar give a powerbomb, because he dropped Hardcore Holly straight on his head and broke his neck. He spent about a year out of the wrestling business, and he came back and they made a little feud and a little angle out of it. The match was actually really good. So what I'm going to spray is Brock Lesnar breaking Hardcore Holly's neck, because as D'Lo Brown learns, you got to take care of your opponents, because you could do a lot of damage really badly. Luckily, Holly was able to survive it. So, Brock, sorry. I know everybody here likes you, but your safety record is not good. So I'm going to spray you, hoping you pay attention and don't hurt people. Now let's go on to the match.
Yeah, the match was really good. Brock Lesnar here, I felt like during this match in particular, he took care of Holly. It was a great match, except for the, going for the sleeper. That was his fault on that, because he was rocking back and forth. But overall, the match was awesome. I loved it. I gave it 3 stars.
I went 3 stars as well. Holly, if they wouldn't have just aborted this, another kayfabe word of the day, abort means to cut off quickly. If they wouldn't have aborted this storyline, I think they could have probably turned Hardcore Holly into a main event talent. Right after this match, everybody pulled the chicken switch, because this turned into what happened at WrestleMania 20 with the Goldberg and Brock Lesnar fiasco. That the less we say about that, the better. But this match was good. 3 stars. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I'm a huge Brock Lesnar guy here. I love his work, because when you see Brock Lesnar working X, don't matter who it is, you want to tune in, because you know it's going to be a fight. And this one was. This definitely lived up to that.
That it did.
And now we're going to move on here to my Quack Attack! Because this match here was probably the best match on the card, in my opinion. This was Triple H taking on Shawn Michaels in a last man standing match. Excuse me, I had to make sure I have my words right. But yeah, this match here lived up to the brutality factor. Both these guys laid it on the line. I mean, the finish was great because it wasn't what you were expecting. Both men were down for the 10 count. I gave this 3.75 stars.
That's what I gave it, 3 3/4. I wanted to go 4. The unfortunate thing about a last man standing match is the ending. Even this one is still anticlimactic because you're standing there waiting for a referee to count to 10. It hurts the match no matter how you try and do it. Even if they would have both tried to struggle to get up, it still would have suffered this match a little bit. It's the nature of the beast, but they both put on great color. Excellent color. It really put over the intensity that's been going on. The match was, 3 3/4 stars. This was strong. And JR did a tremendous job. As Mick Foley has said, he wanted all his matches called by Jim Ross. Well, Jim Ross called this one, and he really made this match mean something.
He did. For you kids at home that need to learn to work psychology into your ring repertoire there, that is definitely a match to watch. That is how you build, the slow fuse with the weapons and everything there with the blood, the gore. That all came out perfect.
Yeah, this is one where WWE started getting a little long with their pre-match packages. This one that they did, it was only about 2.5 minutes. It was appropriately length. The one before with Hardcore Holly and Brock Lesnar was 5 minutes, and it told less of a story.
Yes.
But this one, 2.5 minutes, it got everything out. It talked about all the stuff that had happened before, during, and in the future. Great job here.
And now we're going to move on to the main event, the Royal Rumble. And before you start with names, I'm going to give my 2-finger salutes because this one goes out here to the cat, Ernest Miller. During the middle of this Rumble, we had Benoit, who started number 1, and we had Randy Orton, who started number 2. Both laid out completely. Ernest the Cat Miller and his ring announcer, which he'll tell the name. But yeah, he came out here, and what did he do? Somebody call my mama. Somebody call my mama. He started dancing and everything, and I'm like, why? This was, I guess, the 2-minute intermission here for the middle of the Royal Rumble. And, of course, both him and his ring announcer over there got thrown over the top rope along with that cheap wig. You get my 2-finger salutes.
Well, I think that name has been kayfabed because according to IMDb, that was Armando Estrada. Armando Estrada is not 5'8".
No.
So they have kayfabed who that was. He went to get thrown out by Benoit. Benoit grabbed him by the wig, and the wig came off, and you could see the guy trying to cover his head. So if you know who that guy is...
Put it in the comments, please.
Yeah, we'd like to know who it is. Maybe IMDb will get it right for once, but this time they didn't. So... Let's go back here a little bit because we did get Stone Cold Steve Austin come out here because the first 2 guys that came down were Eric Bischoff, who cut a promo talking about how Raw was going to win. And then Paul Heyman came down there wanting to fight. So Sheriff Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was the sheriff to keep the peace between the 2 companies, came down and he stunned Eric Bischoff. He toasted Paul Heyman, then stunned Paul Heyman. Both guys sold it really well. It was nice to see Stone Cold Steve Austin out there. 3 stars just for that alone.
Yeah, that was great. That was just beautiful. He did it! No, he started it! He started it!
So it was a fun little segment. This match, they said 2 minutes, but after about the third one, it switched to 90 seconds.
Oh, hold on. You forgot. Because you forgot the segment here where Brock Lesnar was being interviewed by Terry Runnels. Oh, yeah, that was in between all this. Yeah, and who do we see? This man's favorite wrestler, Bill Goldberg, coming up here and talking trash to Brock Lesnar. This is a big issue because I hated this interview for one reason. It led to the worst match ever at WrestleMania, in my opinion, Brock Lesnar and Goldberg.
We have seen worse.
We have, but that was the worst WrestleMania match, I think.
In WrestleManias, we've seen worse.
Okay, it was bad, though. It was bad!
Would you say Sid Hogan is worse, or...
Okay, you got a point, but yes, it was bad!
Yeah, I tried to forget that part. That set up the Mania 20. About 2 weeks after this, both the guys were getting ready to leave, so nobody cared, to include me. All right, so
thanks. Now I got to think about Sid Hogan. Thanks. All right, go ahead. Read down the numbers here.
I'll give you one more. Who called this match was JR and Curly. All right, so let's take one more commercial break before we get into this.
Yeah, let's go there real quick. I need to refresh.
We want to thank our sponsors and Febreze, who doesn't sponsor us here, but we just want to thank Febreze for helping us out with this stuff.
Yeah, because we need to clean up some stuff here.
All right, so now it's time to give us the names here of the 30 men in here. We have 11 Hall of Famers, and the reason this number is so low is several of these people are either still active or just recently retired, and they haven't had a time to have them make it into the Hall of Fame. So while the number is low, it's going to go up in the next few years. So unfortunately, number 1, Chris Benoit, will never, unfortunately, ever make the Hall of Fame. And number 2 was Randy Orton, who's still active, as we all know. Then we have Mark Henry, who is a Hall of Famer. Yoshihiro Tajiri. Bradshaw, who is a Hall of Famer. Rhino. Matt Hardy. Scott Steiner. Matt Morgan. I can't say it with a straight face. Matt Morgan. The Hurricane. Booker T, Hall of Famer. Kane, a Hall of Famer. Spike Dudley, sort of. Rikishi, who's a Hall of Famer. Rene Dupree. A-Train. Shelton Benjamin, not his mama, just Shelton Benjamin. Ernest the Cat Miller. Kurt Angle, Hall of Famer. Rico. Mick Foley, Hall of Famer. Christian, Hall of Famer. Nunzio. The Big Show. Chris Jericho. Charlie Haas. Billy Gunn, Hall of Famer. John Cena. RVD, and rounding it out, Goldberg. The last 2 are Hall of Famers.
I mean, a pretty stacked list there. You know, mixed bag. You had some good people in there that were really strong. You had some people that, you know, aren't going to be Hall of Famers. But all in all, I loved it.
It was decent enough. The story was good.
The finish, the last 7 guys in the Rumble, that is really where it was. If you just start from there and watch, that was great.
Well, Benoit doing his thing in the beginning. Watching Benoit eliminate Mark Henry was really awesome. Tajiri sprayed him with the mist, and then Benoit ran into him, and he fell out over the top. That was a good way to send Mark Henry out. Bradshaw came down, clothesline from hell, and then got eliminated. It was, at least it was quick, but it was, he got to throw some clotheslines out there. Scott Steiner embarrassed himself. Matt Morgan embarrassed himself. Spike Dudley, what we referenced kind of Spike Dudley, is Kane got eliminated by Booker T. And then as he's walking up, here comes Spike Dudley, and Spike Dudley takes a choke slam on the entryway, and that's the last we see of him. Rene Dupree won't make it. A-Train, I think he should. His work is not great, but Matt Bloom, the trainer that's been training at NXT and down at FCW for many, many years. He's produced a lot of great talent. I think he deserves some consideration.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody better call my mom and get me off this set. He did. He did. He came out there. His entrance song was Somebody Better Call My Mama, and he danced out there like James Brown.
He did. He went WCW all over in the WWE.
Yeah, and then got tossed out the ring for his troubles. Rico was the stylist for Chuck and Billy, if you don't remember Rico on that blip on the radar. Now, they played Undertaker's music in here, and somebody else came out in their place, and that was how Kane got eliminated.
That was Spike Dudley.
Yep.
He got chokeslammed.
Now, Test laid out, and we didn't see who it was, but Stone Cold was mad that Test was taken out, so that's how Mick Foley entered. And he quickly eliminated Randy Orton with the clothesline, the Mick Foley Cactus clothesline.
And that really propelled their Randy Orton's career, because that fight with Foley is what really set him up to be the legend killer.
Yep. And then Charlie Haas was part of the tag team with Shelton Benjamin, the world's greatest tag team. But then all in all, after that, like you said, the last 7 is really all you need to see, but you should watch the whole thing. Watch the progression of Chris Benoit staying strong the whole time. He didn't lay in the corner for a while. Unlike Nunzio, that's another one. Taz trying to explain about hiding. They had the Taz keys to winning the Royal Rumble, which he didn't last more than 10 minutes in any Rumble, so how he's an expert, I don't know. But Nunzio sat out there in the corner for quite a long time until, I don't even remember who it was. Big Show, I think, saw him and threw him in the ring, and he got bounced around for a while. But I went 3 stars. It was good. The ending is what really sold it for me. The beginning part was kind of, okay, Royal Rumble sometimes are boring, but you need to watch the whole thing. If you're a Benoit fan, watch the whole thing.
That's right. As you can tell, Benoit fan right here. But yeah, that's it for 2004 there, the Royal Rumble. We have concluded now our Royal Rumble tribute there. Definitely looking forward to next Sunday here on the Royal Rumble. Saturday now, right?
Yeah, something WWE has, I don't know if they finally woke up. Somebody gave them the memo that a lot of people work Monday morning and having to stay up till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night to watch these Royal Rumble or watch these pay-per-views is kind of taxing the next day. So they're doing them on Saturdays. We'll see if they stay with it, but I personally like it.
And now we're going to actually get into our next segment here. We're going to do some one-off pay-per-views. And we're going to start with one that was very controversial. Take a look at that. Oh, I know you remember this. I know you remember the importance of this.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, this controversial, definitely. This is controversial.
Yeah, this led to a lot of things going down the line. But yeah, we're going to do a lot of one-offs here, and you're actually going to see here, we're going to be covering St. Valentine's Day Massacre on Valentine's Day. So make sure you tune in for that. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
I'm the important one, Mr. May. I'm saying if you want a road to WrestleMania, we've already done that last year, so go ahead and check those out. Like, share, subscribe. One-offs this time. We're going to make our own way to WrestleMania.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't be some WrestleManias that we didn't cover.
I know.
See you then.
I know they're coming.